first off, I really love the film for a number of reasons. Not only what Reagan, the character, goes through and sort of the artistic interpretation of that and sort of the struggles of an artist, but also the technical prowess of the film and what you pull off, and what Chivo and you pull off. But I want to start by asking, since you mentioned this yesterday, that you turned 50, and sort of, I guess my question is, was this film a result of you analyzing yourself and thinking about yourself, and then almost analyzing where you've been and where you want to go in terms of your career as a director?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think that, when you turn 50 or just before turning 50, you go into a very kind of almost like a melancholic state about, what has been your priorities, what has been guiding you, what the meaning of success or failure, and what is the things that satisfies, or what the things that you should do or not, or what you can do. Anyway, and again, I think that I have been, going through a lot of practices that has been helping me to be very aware of how the ego works. And I thought that it's incredibly interesting how we can, sometimes if we are not aware, it can be a dictator, it can be almost an inquisitor that can help you or kill you as he wants. So I thought that can be, that's how I start to think about the film.
Yeah, how much did it evolve in the production, or in the development of the script, I'm sorry, in so much that, was it always a Broadway show, or did you ever consider like a Hollywood version of this?
It was evolving, I knew that it was a man that had been obviously chased by these boys and getting kind of delusional about it. And then obviously the actor was some figure that it was, in a way, came very naturally because, an actor is obviously for everybody in the world understood as a kind of the Mr. Ego in a way. They are attached to that, even when it's unfair, because every human being, including politicians, bankers, or my neighbor, they can be more selfish than any actor.
Right.
But it's kind of a universal icon of ego, and I thought that it would be a good vehicle to navigate.
At what point did Michael Keaton get involved? Because I feel like he's so, and I mean, I know this is the critics now speaking as it's coming out, but it represents so much of himself and what he has gone through in his own career, as well as what his character goes through. So was he involved in the development, or did you come to a point where you needed to cast someone and you thought he would be the right one?
Yeah, no, Michael was invited once the script was done. I always considered him, but then when I finished, I knew that it was him. That has to, I invite him to join, and I was really lucky to count with his trust.
Yeah, I mean, he really goes all out in it, and one of the thoughts I had when I was on set is that he seemed to me to be completely in character, like lost in it to the point where he wouldn't be out of character when you were working with him and during the shooting. Was that the case? What was he like on set, or did he have the ability to sort of back off when you guys when it was cut and it was?
No, I think he was really truly just really absolutely surrendered to the flaws, weakness, and some pathetism about the character, and playing it with braveness and boldness and without fear, And I think the reason I think he did such a tremendous work and so honest is that he really just trusts so much in the process and the whole team, and because he's such above that, he's such a self-assured guy. He's really the most surprising, I would say, self-assured guys that I have met in my life. And
really?
So there's no hesitation or fear, or when you are still vulnerable in some areas, you cannot really be so strong. And because he's such above that, he don't empower people to tell him who he is. He knows who he is. He can really laugh about that and play that. That was incredible.
I think what works so well with the performance is almost this like honesty or realism to it, in so much that you see them going from, while they are playing a character, they then go to play another character, and I love that we get to see that process of them becoming an actor and actually acting in the film beyond the fact that they are acting for the film. It's like meta on top of things.
Yeah, it was a meta dialogue, all the time, including Edward and all of us in the way we were. That's why there's so many mirrors in the film, because it's like a mirror in a mirror, and the self-obsession of this generation and everything that they want. So yeah, in a way, I think there was that kind of labyrinthic
Yeah.
mirror projection all the time.
And it works well. I want to ask about. I love the cinematography. I'm a huge fan of Emmanuel Levesque, and or Chivo, as I'm not right to call him, but I know. But at what point did the idea of it being sort of the long, continuous take evolve? Was that in the script, or was that something you and Chivo developed together?
No, I think that was obviously conceived and written like that. The script obviously served. You cannot, suddenly decide that after, because it's not achievable. I mean, it's something that can, because obviously if the script suddenly got to Kansas, then you cannot do it.
Right.
So in a way, I think the script was conceived and written like that, obviously with a lot of challenges to solve, and the execution then.
Right.
Then Chivo and I really work a lot in trying to figure out how to really nail it, and so there was a lot of process of rehearsals and designing everything to serve that purpose and to solve bit by bit and trying to understand. And Chivo in a way is a genius, as you know, and so in a way I think the way too that technically he solved the things and designed the lighting. He didn't use any cinema lighting. It's only practical. So but we were lucky, because honestly I have time to really work with the actors and find every step, every word. Everything was designed for serve the narrative of the film, and I rehearsed a lot in order that then we made everything we measure everything in order that everything will be serving the narrative purpose. So, but it was a very meticulous work in advance.
Yeah, that's what I wonder is how much did you just let him do his thing? Because in that, I think, like when I'm watching some of the shots and he starts to rotate around and he starts to sort of go in on certain ones, is that you telling him to make sure to focus on this, or is it him completely freedom to choose what he wants to frame and shoot?
No,
aside from what you need to get for the script.
No, it's a collaborative kind of thing. So, I mean, we rehearse a lot, and in the rehearsal period is when you, differently from other films that normally you do a kind of classic coverage, which is like the master and then this and then that. So you have basically a lot of possibilities to after decide in the editing. In this case, as a director, my responsibility was to understand clearly which point of view the camera should be telling the story in that moment, who should be in frame or not, who was the important person in that, which I think is the most difficult question for a director. The internal rhythm and the point of view. Once you decide that, then I think Chivo got the camera, and in the rehearsals we were like trying it, and then this works, but maybe this doesn't work as good. Let's try this. So it was trial and mistake, and once it's there, then you know conceptually what really works. So it's a collaborative thing of dialogue, of finding between his ideas, my ideas, and finding, but especially everything more than the visual flair. It has to be, for me, the most important. It has to serve the emotional attachment or the narrative or the dramatic tension. And once you find that, then obviously he operates the camera and frame work that is absolutely, and then. Obviously, once you plan whatever, but then when it's happening, what she will really have is that ability to be precise and in a way sculpting things with a beauty and poetry that no matter, you can plan a lot of things, but that touch that he has and that quality of the light that he designed is absolutely marvelous.
Yeah, I agree. Did you find it to be a challenge to put it together in the editing room at the end? Were there moments where you're like, okay, we need to even add a CG couple scenes to make it progress smoothly? Or was it so well conceived in the actual on set that it just flowed together?
Yeah, also, I mean, I think I tried to block everything.
Even like the like transitions where it pans up at the stairs.
I tried to block everything in order that will be as natural and longer and real possible. Because I didn't have a lot of money, honestly, to have a lot of CG and shit like that. So I had to be very smart, trying to use like very natural resources to solve every scene.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about the humor in the film, because I think it's a great balance to the otherwise depth of it, and it's also and I'm paying you a huge compliment here, a great evolution in your career, in so much that, and this isn't a bad thing, but Beautiful was a very depressing film to me. But to see the humor in this work so well, and the funny thing is, last night you mentioned that you laughed on set. Was that a common thing, or was it you're working so hard, but then there is the humor, and that's what makes the set work? Because there is that moment.
Yeah, we all were very intensely working and concentrate, and it was tough. But honestly, when it happened, it just laughable. I think when you are around Zach or Michael or Edward, I mean, honestly, there was a lot of laughs, which I have never experienced. And there was, you might remember this particular take that Michael gets stuck in the door with his robe, and he's doing this kind of Buster Keaton kind of silent thing of the deal, doing this. I mean, all that thing, I remember how much I was laughing. And then I took the dailies to my department in New York, and I couldn't stop laughing literally until 4 a.m. Like kind of maniac in a way, because I was really enjoying so much how pathetic and stupid he did that thing that I was really enjoying.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that. That was a gift for me.
Yeah. Well, it connects back to the whole idea of the film, and what I was actually kind of talking with the publicist about is that when you turn 50, you the idea that you need to laugh, and that laughter is an important part of maintaining a happiness in life. Mm-hmm. And that I think that really seeps through in this, especially the funny moments with Regan and what he goes through, and the laughter that we do get through it.
Yeah, I think I think people feel sometimes that directors that do drama are dramatic. Not necessarily. I think in order to do drama, you have to have some balance. If not, you cannot. But so in a way, in that sense, I have a sense of humor in my personal life. Obviously, the material that sometimes I develop and I write doesn't allow that. But in this case, it was a perfect kind of way for me to light up and reconcile in a way the way we approach things. Sometimes it can be very dramatic, because what happened to him can be approached in a very dramatic way. It could have been easily a drama if I will have decided that genre. But in a way that it was an upside down approach, I think it helped to be more truthful even, because that's the nature of life. Life is a little bit, sometimes has some humor.
Of course.
On us.
I also wanted to ask, because this seems to be such an evolution in your sort of career, what are the biggest lessons you learned from it? What were the greatest sort of discoveries, not only about yourself, but about the process that you learned from this film that you hadn't learned in all the other films?
I think the biggest lesson that I had was to be fearless, to be less in control or less afraid of the possibilities of failure or doing something that I probably will think that I will fail, or in a way to let go and surrender and get out of the comfortable zone with fear probably, but doing it and be liberated from that dictator of the control or the comfort zone or and that really I learned a lot, to let it go, to surrender to that. And once I did, and because the results, I'm very happy about the film, I learned that it's a liberating thing as an artist to really let go and defend to death my right to fail, and by doing that, achieve sometimes things that I would have never thought. And most importantly, that the achievement or the results of it is to enjoy the journey. So I mean, when you do something that departs from the terrifying kind of thing, is fantastic, because that means that to be terrified, to be afraid of that, is a good sign of creativity. It's like you are doing something and you are doing a journey, and a journey should be always mysterious and unknown. You know what I mean? And that's a good journey, and enjoying it. That's what I learned, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I was talking with them about that you're already shooting another film right now, and as far as I know, it's sort of another different take for you. Is that where you are hoping to progress from here, sort of to continue to differentiate yourself and try new things?
Yeah, I mean, as I told you, I think that I learned that I can really attempt other things, things that terrify me, things that I don't know, things that it's a new territory that I could easily fail. But in a way, I think that's worth more. And maybe I guess that after 40, if you don't do something that does not terrify you, why to do it? You know what I mean? So I think that I'm in that mode now, that I would like to do things that try, and why not, and give me the chance to try it. And you know, that's where I want to be now. Maybe later I will say, you know, I'm tired of this fucking risk. I just want to do fucking cookie cutter films and leave.
No, I hope that's never the case, though.
Well, but maybe it can be too, and there's a right to do that, you know. But now I'm in that mode, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, of course. Well, because the last thing I want to ask is, since we're at Telluride, and because you are a film fan, what films would you recommend to people? What are the kind of films that you've seen recently that have left such an impact on you that you say everyone needs to go see this?
Which one will be? I haven't really been.
You've got more than one.
Haven't been a lot of time, but well, I have to confess. One thing that I saw, but it is not recent. But no matter what, now that we are in Telluride, but something that I discovered here. It was, I don't know if it was last year or 2 years ago, I don't know if you saw this film that I love that nobody saw, that it was called Le Quattro Volte. Have you seen that film?
Oh, I heard about it, with the
It's an Italian
goats,
film.
Right?
It's a very tiny film.
Right.
Kind of crazy idea. That if I tell the idea, nobody will say, how can you make a film about that idea? It's almost a Buddhist kind of revision, no words, silent, but there's miraculously kind of an achievement. In my point of view, it's a rare jewel, but I don't know, I love that film so much that I thought that every time that I asked somebody if they saw it, nobody saw it, but it was just here in Telluride. Anyway, bringing Telluride to that I would recommend that film too.
Cool. Well, great. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to your next film already.
Thank you very much.
I am a huge fan of all of your films. So.
Thank you very much.
And it's an honor to talk to you, really.
No, thank you. I'm glad that you like Birdman.